That's good.
As long as it's about
Two things before we get into the topic.
Good distance about that.
So Americade was this weekend. I
Oh,
went.
yeah.
I went.
Yeah.
Fucking blast.
Your Faggio
Yeah, my Vespa.
with a bubblegum helmet.
Yep. No.
Shout out. Shout out. What the fuck? Oh, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What game was that?
Come on, big guy. Grand Theft Auto Vice City actually really popularized the Vespa. The Faggio. Sorry.
I can't remember the actual names of the vehicles.
Now that brings up three things before we get into the serious topic.
This is a serious topic.
So it is actually.
I want to know about the Faggio.
Americade. Great fucking day.
And that's it. Well, thanks for coming.
Good deal. Oh fuck, where was I going with that? I hate you so much.
I told you thanks for coming.
No, did Americade. That was fucking badass, dude. A lot of bikes.
Yeah.
Great.
That's usually what...
No, man. I mean, like, when you think you see a pack roll through, like our little no-neck town.
Around here, you get like 20 of them. And
everyone's like, oh, look at all the bikes. Look at all the bikes. Look at all the bikes.
I've been to Americade once when I was way younger. But
Dude.
Yeah, I know. It's a shining sea of just mostly black, but some reds and blues and whites.
Seriously stopped
shiny and all waxed and ready to go.
After like 500, I stopped counting.
Why did you count to 500?
Because I was walking down the parking lot.
Why would you count to 20? You know there's a lot of bikes.
Dude,
What's the...
I mean, and then there was still the whole...
Are you slightly autistic? 'Cause
No.
that's like a tick that they...
No, I just... At first, I was like, God, there's got to be like... I kind of lied. I apologize. I didn't lie.
Don't let
I
it happen
misled.
again.
I misdirected with information.
Misinformation.
I misinformed you. There you go. So...
Misinformation.
I did the math. I figured every 20 feet there was on average 12 bikes. And after I figured out how far we had walked, I was counting my steps pace-wise. I did the math. 12, every 100 feet was probably about 120 to 140 bikes. And I mean, you walk about a quarter of a mile just to get to the entrance, and then there's the
This is up in Lake George?
Yeah. Then there's the paid parking, and that's like a good whole half a mile wrap. So I was like, yeah, fuck this. That's too many bikes to count.
It's like you need to bring you bring your bike. You took the bike, right? Yeah.
Hell yeah, I took the bike.
Took the bike up. You need to have a Razor scooter in your saddlebags
Yeah, pretty much.
to park and then scoot around.
But that's actually why the reason I brought up Americade was because the Griswolds made an appearance. All three of them. All three of the fucking family wagon. What was it called? The Power Wagon?
The station wagon?
Yeah, what was that actually called?
Oh, I don't know.
All three versions of it. The dude was driving around
with the Christmas tree.
There was the first one with the luggage.
Yeah.
There was the second one with the Christmas tree, and then the third one.
No, I think the second one was Vegas. The third one was Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And
maybe the fourth one was Christmas. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I have
the fourth one was the Christmas Vacation. Fourth one. No. The second one was Christmas Vacation.
I don't think it was.
Third one was. Shit, I hate you. Regardless.
European Vacation.
Yes, that was the second one.
Yeah.
The third one was Christmas.
Maybe. Well, we know, just like in the last one, we know that those four were in there. We just don't know what order.
Yeah. Well, I know
the first one was Wally World.
Wally World, and I only know that because Griswold. What was his name? Henry Harold.
Yes.
What was his name? Really?
I can't remember. I know
Clark.
I know. Yes, Clark. I know Chevy Chase is in it. I love
Clark
Chevy
Griswold
Chase.
because his wife.
Apparently, he's a shithead.
Hot. You see her tits in that movie.
In the movie. Yeah.
In the movie, you see her tits.
Yeah.
Fucking hot.
No, I bought the 4-pack.
Of her tits?
I did. It was in 4D. I mean, 4K, HD, 4D, HKD.
There's a few D's in there.
Double DH, 4KD.
4K double HD.
It's like, it's all around you.
No.
Like if your head was surrounded by large pillows in your eyeballs. It was a wonderful experience in 4K. Anyway, yeah, but everywhere.
I actually literally just motorboated your microphone. No, but the only reason I knew it was the European vacation. This one, the second one, because it had the guy had the window visor to protect it from the heat, and it was the Griswolds in the car. I was like, that's awesome.
I like it.
And then we saw him on the way out driving the third one with the fake tree on the top.
Nice.
I was like, that's fucking epic.
My question is where do you get that window visor?
It's got to be a custom. I don't know. Custom made.
No, you probably go on Amazon and find it. You can find anything on Amazon.
But the third thing before the serious topic, speaking of Vice City, I was reading up while I was doing some research for tonight's topic.
When did I mention Vice City? I said Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, but the Faggio really got big because of Vice City, and that's what it got me thinking about Grand Theft Auto entirely. They are supposed to be doing a date release, a trailer release for GTA 6 finally. October and November.
October 2032.
No, it's slated.
Are they finally going to stop doing the trickle DLC for GTA 5?
It's slated for spring or spring or summer of 2023.
But that's what I mean. Are they going to stop doing the trickle DLC for 5?
I don't know.
Because that's the only reason why it's still alive. Which is brilliant by Rockstar. You know, just a little DLC every other month or whatever it is, or every month.
A new theme, a new this,
yeah,
a new that.
It's just tiny things that are just interesting enough to keep people engaged.
Yeah.
But even the people that play all the time, they play it and they're like, God, this is DLC? Oh, great. 2 new car skins and a t-shirt for free.
Yeah. Or a mask.
Yeah.
But, I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, about fucking time. I mean, they've got a they've got a Rockstar for every continent. They got Rockstar North, Rockstar South, Rockstar East, Rockstar West.
Yeah, Rockstar Australia.
Yeah.
Which is where we're going in this conversation.
We are.
Come along with us.
Good segue. That was a great segue. I got to give you that prop.
Yeah, I'm getting better. It's like training wheels. I got one off, so I only follow the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Australia is an interesting time.
Oh,
right
my
now.
God.
Australia is... That's a perfect example, and I've heard this said many times. Australia is the perfect example right now of everyone that says, this couldn't happen.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is focus on what's going on over there. Because that is... Without showing actual video clips of everything that's going on. I think I sent you that one. It was just a compilation of everything going on. You see it a lot in the news of like, oh, there's protesting going on. But I don't think protest is the word for it anymore. Like it's mad. It's a complete madness over there. Maybe this is all we're.
What was that guy's name? You sent me the clip of Tushroll? No, IRL? No.
Oh, Tim Pool.
Tim Pool
again.
He made a good point. The first video you sent me, something he said really resonated with me, and it's sad now.
You have to remind me. There's some.
I will. But it's sad that like, the more I looked into it, the more I thought about it, and then watching along these videos, I'm like, this guy's like, right on the money. I mean, hitting the nail on the head. He was talking about desensitizing to it. Like, oh yeah, it's never gonna happen. It can't happen to us. So you become numb to the fact of because it's going on.
Because so much shit's going on.
And then it's at your doorstep, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, what?
And
it's too late at that point.
I just had this conversation today at Drill. I heard it said today that I made a whole bunch of notes today because I couldn't fucking remember all the stuff that I watched during the day.
Because also
this is actually one of the last things that just kind of Kathy Hochul, our new governor.
Oh yeah.
All right. She made a statement
about the National Guard.
She's going to bring in the National Guard to take to fill in the spots. Let's go back a little bit. I think it wasn't this past Sunday, was it? It was this coming Sunday, I think. Maybe it was this past Sunday where the mandate takes effect, and if you're not vaccinated and hospitals, places of any kind of medical whatever.
The medical profession, yeah.
Yeah, you lose your job or you walk, whatever it is, and there's a whole bunch of people that are not going to get it, so there's going to be a whole bunch of spots filled, which is going to screw over everybody that's sick when they go in. So she's planning on bringing in the National Guard to take over these spots.
Which, hold on, is a flex, and I'll explain why, God.
And bringing in the National Guard, I mean, you're going to have all these Humvees and parked around, going around, people with guns, and they're also bringing in the National Guard and for policing, protests, and all this. So you're talking about desensitizing. This popped into my head while I was watching some of these. Wouldn't that be interesting if they're doing this to desensitize us? Now, this is, again, conspiracy theorist territory. To desensitize us in seeing the National Guard up and down the streets. So if they ever did bring a military state in and actually have martial law, it wouldn't be such a shock to everybody. Oh, this is normal. We've had the military here for a while. They're in here. They're doing more police work because there's not enough police to take care of all the people, going out of control. And now you got them marching up and down bigger cities.
But here's the thing, and it's funny that you bring that up.
Again, this is outstretching a little bit.
Well, no.
I like to just let my brain just kind of go like.
You sure you're not a little autistic? I mean, that is kind of a coping mechanism.
Oh, probably. When I was little, I used to walk on my toes.
Well, no, but that's just it. And it's funny because you want to dive down that rabbit hole. You're going to love where I'm going with this because that was something I thought about.
Oh, Descent scared me.
The fact of bringing them in, and I'll go back to the flex comment in a minute, desensitizing, making that presence a norm. Sure, that's great. That's awesome. You're going to have them driving the school buses. You're going to have them delivering the mail. You're going to have them performing nursing duties. You're going to have them policing. But is it green lives or blue lives at that point? Because when you've got National Guard who were brought in by the governor to police any and all situations that a normal police officer would do, because that is an alarmingly climbing number of all of the law enforcement that is walking away. And like they said on the Tim Pool, the first video you sent me, he's like, all the good ones that are refusing because of the constitutional.
I do remember that.
The hypocrisy of the situation in regards to the constitutional bearings of this situation. You're only going to be left with the yes sirs, yes ma'ams, all homes doing what I got to do,
right.
Following orders. That's all you're going to be left with. So at that point,
Nazi Germany.
I was going to say, at that point, you got nothing but the military walking the streets, which. What did you see in all of Germany when they realized it was too far gone and they just had to go along with it? You saw nothing but troops walking down the street day in, day out. And hold on. And it goes to the point where now at this point in this country, sure, you want to become desensitized, you want it to be a norm, the military presence, be my guest. But when the first gunshot happens that you feel is unjust, it's not blue lives that matter anymore. It's the green lives, the military, because they were the ones that you insisted they needed to be here to enact martial law, to follow through with forcing these mandates where the wrong person gets shot. Now you're going to attack the government? Now are they going to realize, oh, wait, maybe we've been on the wrong side because we were misinformed?
Right. Misinformed by information that's clearly controlled. The fact checkers... I don't know if it was something I sent you.
I've watched a few.
The independent fact checkers are funded by Big Pharma, Pfizer.
I was going to say
Johnson & Johnson. They're funded, and this is public record. You can look this up. They are funded by all of these pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, and
is anybody fucking home? So that's fun. Let's go down this rabbit hole just a little deeper.
Hold on, really quick.
All right. Pull the rope back up.
The funding, yeah. Hold us on before we go spelunking. It's funny that you bring up the funding too, because I was watching other articles today. Did you know, and this is also public record too, you can look into it in your own hometown, your own school system, wherever you live, you can look into COVID funding in regards to schools. A lot of the schools that are all of a sudden getting on board with it, even though a lot of them are, no, we're not going to force mandates. A lot of states around this country are getting, I think the number was like a $13 billion budget to give funding to schools that could successfully implement vaccine mandates and get them over. Get them to actually do it. Get them to force the staff, force the students, force the parents, all to get vaccinated.
It's not even force. It's the interesting thing is they keep pressuring you to quote unquote take a voluntary vaccination, even though they pressure you with taking insurance or coverage away. They're pressuring you with fines or pressuring you. It's like, well, you don't have to. So if you don't get vaccinated, then it's independent. The private sector of work's like, well, then I guess you don't work here anymore, which they can do that. So they're not forcing you to get it, but they're taking everything around you away until you volunteer to get it.
Yeah, because then at that point, it's no longer we twisted your arm enough to make you do it. You decided.
Yeah, you decided. Exactly. And that's why they also, let's say you get vaccinated and the whole thing, Alex Jones style here, you go sterile, or it causes blood clots, which in some rare instances it has, or whatever else it may cause. Now you can't go back on them because you decided.
You voluntarily agreed.
You decided to get it. We didn't tell you to get it.
Real quick, just a little disclaimer for the few views that we do get, whatever, the few follow, whatever. In the event that somebody wants to go hate bash, be my guest. I don't give two shits how you feel about what I'm saying. It's just my opinion. There might be 100 other facts out there that could disprove me. I'm more than welcoming of any and all discussions from anybody to not change my mind, but I want to hear your arguments. And I'm not saying I'm going to change my mind, but
no,
don't think for 1 second we're trying to change the fucking country.
Science, it's a science approach. Before you put anything out, you want to disprove yourself first.
Yeah, I mean, I have.
This is why
I have the way I feel about all this.
We're a year and a half into this, and I'm just now coming out and stating things and more.
Pandemic really started.
It's about 18 months ago. It was for United States. It came out in October-ish. Some people are actually, I think they're actually saying in China, it actually came out like August or July of 2019.
Yeah, it was earlier in the year.
It became prevalent in the news like October-ish, November of 2019. It didn't come to the States until like late January, something like that, middle late January. Then we had like our first cases. I remember because I was watching the playoffs, Niners and Packers, I think it was. And that's when it started to like really pick up steam. Going back before though, we were talking about the military.
Let's dive down that rabbit hole.
In Nazi Germany. Just go a little bit further down the whole Nazi Germany thing. Right now, we see a lot of pandering in the news to all the vaccinated people, to pretty much, I think we covered before, look down on the people that are unvaccinated, either unsure or just completely anti-COVID vaccine. Mm-hmm. They're getting everyone to pretty much treat them as a lower class outsider, point them out, which is another thing, pointing them out. I'll get to eventually. What did you see in Nazi Germany? It wasn't just the Nazis pointing out the Jews and attacking or like coming down on the Jews. What the Nazi Party did was get all the civilians, the neighbors, to be like, listen, these are second-class citizens. They are lower than human. They're dirty. They're disease-ridden. They're this infested. They're don't go near them for X, Y, and Z reason. That's exactly the same thing they did then. Because then what they did is turn their neighbors on them, and military didn't really have to do anything other than the big factions or the small insurrection groups that would come through, and then the Nazi party would come and squash them. But for all the individual things, they just got the civilians to do their dirty work. Where have I seen that before?
It's funny that you bring that up too, because sympathizers.
Yeah.
That's another one. You can't even you can watch it. Facebook fucking celebrities, YouTube celebrities. All these people that somebody grabs a camera and records at the right time where someone walks in. I saw a video and it was on I was kind of following the breadcrumb trail to all these different avenues. There was one of a couple of college students in a study area. It was labeled the multicultural study area. Multicultural. I want to say that one more time. Multicultural. Mm-hmm. It was a multicultural study area. The reason these two college kids were being attacked, not physically but verbally, was because the one kid on the laptop had Police Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. These, you don't know what ethnicity or color of the person behind the camera was, because they were recording these two and attacking them verbally about, their, how did she say it? Like they were basically asserting their race by just being there. And how it was inappropriate because what sparked it all.
The people who got attacked, that's what they were implying against them?
Yeah, the two, they were Caucasian males, probably late teens, early 20s. They looked like college students because it was a college area. And the one kid had a baseball cap and a laptop on the back that said, "Please Lives Matter." And there you can hear like a sort of sympathetic person along the camera person that says, "Look, we're not offended by you per se, but that sticker really offended us." And then, when you think about it,
Police Lives Matter sticker.
By you not getting up and leaving like we're asking you to, you're making it worse because you're asserting your race. About, your, everything else about the college is catered to the Caucasian race, and how by them forcing them to be in the multicultural area with the other people, it was kind of like asserting them again, asserting the white. And here's the best part: they're like, "Look, it's a multicultural." Well, white's not a culture. So
where did I hear somewhere today? It was a white whiteness is an ideology. I can't remember where I heard it today. There's one of the many things. I think I read it somewhere.
Well, it gets better because this is the best part.
Oh boy!
In the background, an Asian kid, and I mean, please,
stereotypical?
No, not even stereotypical. Because I mean, it was just
beyond that realm.
You could just tell by the way that the gentleman spoke, his stature, the facial features, this was definitely an Asian gentleman, younger male, goes, "Listen, what's going on?" And he has a slight accent, and the girl started explaining. He goes, "So how does that exclude them from being here? Eastern European," he says something about Eastern European being a culture. And they're like, "Yeah, so that's what the Caucasian race is, Eastern European." And they're like, "No, white is not a culture." Like they kept going back and forth, and it's sad that the Asian gentleman goes, "Look, you just leave them alone. They're not doing anything wrong. Like, who you gonna like?" I cut the video off after that because I literally started laughing because I didn't want to see how far it went. That now we've got you don't know what they were. The ladies that were speaking, or if they were ladies per se, I'm sorry to assume gender.
Pronouns.
Yeah, the pronouns. You don't know what ethnicity or race they were. You don't know if they were older or younger. You just hear their voices. You never actually see them in the bit that I watched. And I'm not trying to chop edit the video to make my point. It made me laugh that right there you have a sympathizer, because they started attacking the Asian fella too. Mm-hmm. And the Asian pronoun, sorry. The Asian pronoun. They started attacking him.
The Asian person.
The Asian person. They started like almost directing it to them. Here you are now, once again, and this is where the sympathizer part comes in. Here you are having another person of another ethnicity who has been in the news in the last year for being segregated against. Very segregated. The Asian community was getting a lot of backlash. And now these people are attacking that. Because all they said was, listen, just leave him be. Who cares? Ignore it. And now because, like, and that's where like the sympathy, and that's where the, here we go, back to what you were saying about Nazi Germany. They got the community to do it. They even got them to attack their own friends and family who stopped and said, wait a minute, something seems a little off. Oh, well, not because you don't think of the same long lines we are. Even though you're the same culture as me, you're obviously not the right culture anymore.
You, when you fill out job applications or do your taxes and everything, you don't mark Caucasian, correct?
No.
Because you're Hispanic and Italian.
Yes. The way when I first started filling out anything legally wise, and it was back in high school when I applied when I did intend to enlist in the military, I was instructed by the recruiter. Now, this is the military, the U.S. federal government organization, the United States Armed Forces, Army, that instructed me, because I am only second generation American, I am half Spanish, half Italian, I am not Caucasian enough to put that down.
All right, so knowing that, is what you just explained racist?
What do you mean?
Toward white.
Oh, yes. Extremely. Extremely. I think any culture can be, any ethnicity, any race.
So that's not coming from a white person. It's just getting that out there. Yeah. Because a lot of times you say, well, that's racism. And somehow, some way, in the news, it's not. Which baffles me. How is that not?
It wasn't racist until it was race based.
Right.
The fact that they were triggered by the police.
It started as police, but then as soon as you said, well, the
girls
Caucasian thing, whatever.
Being the white is not a culture. The minute they brought the race into it, it became racist. Now, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if the general public feels that way. You know, whoever may be disagreeing right now watching this.
I don't think they do. I think as a general public sees it the same way. It's like, how is this not, like, how do you look at that scenario and say there's nothing racist about this, it's okay, without being so delusional or hopped up on some crazy psychedelic drug to where you're living in a reality that is just fantastically magical. I don't know how you look at that and be like, this isn't racist.
Every culture, every race, every ethnicity can be racist towards another.
Absolutely.
It does not, the fact that it's only been labeled black and white is because...
It's not even that. I've heard it said that racism is uniquely American, which that made my head spin at Mach 4. I'm like, whoa.
Uniquely American?
Yes,
where did you hear that? I'm curious.
A guy I used to work with, and I couldn't respond fast enough. He left the room. It was in the cafeteria. I was sitting down. We were having lunch, and it wasn't even my conversation. He was walking out, and I heard him say, racism is uniquely American. And I was like, I felt like I was floating out of my body. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, so in the last, 250 years, like that just popped up. Racism has only existed for 250 years. Egyptians, never mind that. We're not talking about that.
So, and hold on, really quick, real fast story. I promise I'll make it short. I knew a gentleman. I used to be good friends with him. He had an aunt that lived in a neighboring city, going towards Buffalo.
Oh, we're getting way off topic.
Okay, real quick. So his daughters, now she was white, Her husband was Jamaican. His daughters were mixed. They were biracial. You could not call him or his daughters black. They were not black. They were Jamaican. He actually got his own daughters expelled from school because there was a incident between a black boy, and his daughter. I won't go into the details, but it was an inappropriate situation, and the daughter defended herself, which kudos to the little girl. She was like 8 or 9 at the time, and the boy was like 11 or 12.
I've heard of a lot of Jamaican people who don't refer to themselves as black.
Well, the reason
they are, but they strictly refer to themselves as Jamaican.
He got his daughters kicked out of that school because upon meeting the father and the mother of the child, this little boy that acted inappropriately to his daughter, he got into a fistfight altercation with both of them in the principal's office, screaming racial slurs at them, saying that he doesn't want his daughters going to schools with people of color.
Hey.
He's like, I refuse to let my daughters go to school with, I'm not going to say the racial slur, but he called them that right in front of the principal. He was, and then upon...
imagine being the principal. Like, what are you doing that?
Upon finding out about this, because I had to go up and help my friend at the time, like, babysit his nieces while everything got situated with the law, I found out from his aunt that he was, as is, I'm not saying the entire Jamaican community or ethnicity, it is very common, though, to find people in Central America who are like very dark skinned and considered black, who are actually racist against blacks.
Yeah,
it's like how?
I mean, you see it in a lot of different cultures too. One last point I'm going to make about this.
Yeah,
it's not even like race and strict color, black, white, whatever. That I think. I you know what, I can't even say it. I was going to say that's uniquely American, but I don't even know that. But like. Over in Africa, it's from this state or that state or this dialect, that dialect. I mean, you get it everywhere. But yeah, racism uniquely American. That was special. That was that made me.
I would love to hear that in person. I mean, seriously.
I felt my brain just have just a straight face look. Like it was like
that would have straight up.
What's that one meme with the little boy, like the imaginary friend, like. That's what my mind was doing.
Space shuttle.
Yeah.
That's what my mind did. He said like space shuttle. Uh-huh.
Oh, jeez.
No, but like the Australian lockdown thing though, man. I was watching another news article today about a gentleman that was literally sitting on a fountain smoking a cigarette. Smoking a cigarette. All he did was go out for a walk. And I think it was like 7 or 8 police officers grabbed him.
Yeah, they slammed him to the ground or some shit like that.
Went to town and arrested him. And then upon being recorded, a woman asked, "What are you doing?" He goes, "It's not. Don't worry about it. We have reason to detain him."
No excuse. They said he had no excuse.
No excuse for being there.
Yeah.
He was going for a walk while he wasn't masked. He was smoking a cigarette.
There's another one to make your head spin. Like, what?
It's coming.
I guess where I had notes and stuff, and because I just like all the information that was coming off of this, it was just too much. Like at a quick, rapid rate, I was like, I gotta write this stuff down.
Yeah.
So, one thing I guess that their government, and as a side note, I'm gonna say, when you listen to their, what I don't want to say, president, whatever it is.
Authority figure,
whoever it is talking over there, and this is unprofessional by me, but I'm not a fucking professional. I fucking sit in the side room and do this. Anyway, when he's rattling off what they're doing and how they're approaching everything and the protocol they're going through, and well, the vaccination, unless you're vaccinated, you can't do this. He says everything with no emotion, no
very cue card.
Yeah.
I noticed.
Like, not even cue card. like he doesn't have a care in the world. It was like, fuck you. Like, it's really bizarre. That's just something that I picked up on when I was watching it. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just how it comes across to me. Anyway, so he said that the vaccines or the lockdown will ease up when they have more people vaccinated. 25% of the adults in Australia are vaccinated. I think it's 11% of the entire population. That's everybody. 25% of the adults. I guess their death rate roughly is about 3 people per day from COVID. That number might as well just not exist. They have a population of 25 million people.
Wow.
3 people per day. That's so dangerous that we have to lock down the entire country. Basically, it's a police state. It is a police state now.
I was saying,
not even basically. It's a police state now. And there's 25% vaccinated. They have to lock everything down because of 3 people, give or take, per day. I don't know who is coming up with these rules, why it's being pushed so hard. And we see it all the time in America, how it's being pushed crazy. Biden has compared the whole hurricane thing that I'm sure everybody's seen by now.
Oh, yeah.
Afghanistan, back burner. Border, the southern border, back burner. Our financial situation now, which that's interesting. I was just looking at a lot of that with the Congress and the Senate having a vote on our raising the debt, the amount of debt we can have, and a new bill, and how the Democrats have all the seats in the House, Congress and the Senate, so they can vote for it, and without any Republican vote and still win because they have the tiebreaker vote. But what they did, I guess, they attached to the bill is they have a 2.5 or $3.5 trillion debt delinquency plan added onto it. So the Republicans are not going to allow the Democrats to raise the debt, our allowance for debt, because it's so high already. But what they did is add this other delinquency bill to it. So if the Republicans don't vote for it, they're going to say, listen, you didn't vote for it, so we're still in debt because of you. Mm-hmm. So they added that to it just to put the Republicans in a fucking spot. Biden barely, I don't think, maybe he has, or if he has made mention of it, it's barely in passing.
Yeah.
Everything is COVID. Well, they're doing the same thing over there. You don't hear anything else about anything else. All the videos, the compilation video. Yep. There's everything, all the protests or the protesters are looked at as criminals. Mind you, in America, Antifa and everything, well, winter protests not supposed to be violent. That's constitutional. I believe that's First Amendment constitutional.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously our Constitution has nothing to do with Australia. There's a $1,000 fine, I guess, if you're found outside your home without reasonable excuse, which is alluding to what you were talking about, the guy smoking in the park and just getting, like, ransacked by a bunch of police.
Yeah, it was intense.
I guess now protests are outlaws, or protests are outlawed, but also adding on to that, if you mention supporting a protest, that's also outlawed. It couldn't happen in America. And yet here it is over in Australia in real time, happening right now as we speak. But like John said tonight, and many other people have said, I'm sure, the difference between Australia and us is the 300 million firearms that are spread throughout the United States. Australia gave theirs up some time ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens. What are you going to do? Chuck rocks at people? No. I think it's like 80 or 85 million people that are registered firearm owners in one way, shape, or form. And then, like I said before, I don't know if it was on a podcast, I'm sure it was, not everyone in the military is going to stand up if in that crazy scenario someone comes about, or Biden or whoever is like, we're going to run a police state or a military martial law, we're going to enforce martial law. Not everyone in the military is going to go for that.
Oh, hell no.
At least half of the soldiers are going to be no, and they're going to stand with the civilians, which when they are sworn into the military, that is what they're supposed to do, is defend the Constitution, not the people in power. It says that they defend the Constitution against any foreign and domestic threats. That is a fucking domestic.
Any threats, foreign and domestic.
Yeah, that is a domestic threat. I say half, just being conservative, but I think it would be way more like 75, 80%. So now you have 80 million people, plus the people that would pick up firearms and join them. There's 320-some million people in the United States. And then the military, 3/4 of the military. That's not... I highly doubt, unless there's a complete breakdown, everyone just bows, I highly doubt that would ever happen here. But
quick.
just to show, it can happen. Because it is.
Really quick. I just want to check something really quick.
Okay.
Because it's something about the numbers you were saying about Australia.
There's, as you're looking that up, there's also a made mention that there's a lot of people that are saying that if you're unvaccinated and you catch COVID, you should not be treated. There's a lot of leftists that are saying you shouldn't be allowed to be treated. I thought that was interesting. I was like, well, by that logic, if you get AIDS by having sex, you shouldn't be treated. If you get any STD for that matter, you shouldn't be treated. If you get an abortion, you shouldn't, or if you want an abortion, you shouldn't get it because you knew what you're getting into. If you get in a car accident, you knew what you're getting into, you shouldn't be treated. Any ailment, minus like cancer, but even some of those, you were a smoker, you shouldn't be treated. Like, how far do you want to fucking take this?
Funny that you mentioned cancer, because just out of curiosity, you were talking about 3 deaths per day in Australia. That factors out to be 1,095 deaths a year. In a year.
Right.
In 2019, and the numbers only gotten higher, 50,000 people died from cancer in Australia. Smoking, poison inhalation, all that stuff. And COVID's the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, you could literally look up lightning strikes.
Yeah. Car accidents, lightning strikes.
Global, you can compare.
No, I specifically searched Australia. Yeah. Just because the Australia been the topic.
And look up just lightning. I don't know what globally the United States. Make the United States, because the United States is like the focal point of COVID right now. Of like, oh, there's so many deaths. So lightning strikes per year. That's a
long-term average of 41 people die from lightning strikes each year in the United States, but that number has continued to trend downward thanks in part to increased awareness, safety campaigns, and growing accessibility of weather forecasts and warnings.
Don't hold metal rods.
Yeah.
But three is the dangerous number. All right.
Yep. It just, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to fact check in the middle of the conversation.
No, I support that.
You know, like I could sit there and probably search how many people die from drunk drivers, and the number's going to be over 1,000.
Oh,
how many people die from knife wounds? How many people die from knife are subject to how many people's cause of death is caused by a melee weapon in Australia? I guarantee you the number's going to be over 1,000. I'm not saying
what
this.
Did you say it was 1,300 or whatever? Or no.
1,095.
Yeah, 1,095.
3 people per day. What I'm saying is, how many people die from household accidents each year? You want to get technical? How many people die of old age each year? And I guarantee you those numbers are now old age. Oh, this guy's talking about making people immortal. I don't fucking care. Whatever you want to use.
No, it's not.
What I'm saying is
making anyone immortal. It's
the fact that 1,000 people died are going to die in 365 days, and you're worried about that versus any and other. Car, I guarantee you 3 times that people die from household accidents, falling down the stairs. A car falls on them while they're working on it. They get electrocuted. They breathe something in. They drink a chemical by accident.
Yeah, not even that, accidental overdose. Not even like a heroin or anything. An accidental overdose of medications.
Took too many
We just had a
Tylenol.
call a week ago.
Yep.
It happens.
Yep. Now, I'm not saying this because, this is what the government needs to step in to protect people from themselves. No. What I'm saying is that's not a bad number. I don't wish death on anybody. I don't wish COVID on anybody. I don't wish ill will on anybody.
Has
But
nothing to do with wishing any kind of bad on anybody.
Well, no, because the way a lot of people are going to see that is, COVID's not important. This guy's wishing. This guy doesn't care.
In the grand scheme of things, I will go out on record and say, no, COVID is not fucking important.
Exactly.
The numbers.
That's the point I'm making.
Science. COVID is like on page fucking 6 of what we should be afraid of, medically or physically, whatever.
If you ask me, COVID is a cliff note.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things,
it's here. It ain't going anywhere. This is just a new strain of COVID because COVID's been
neither is
around
cancer,
for how many long?
neither is my herpes, neither is the fucking common cold.
Sorry about that. But it's not going anywhere.
I don't have
When
herpes.
are we?
Just want to say that for the record. Fuck you.
It's not going anywhere. When are we going to get to the point where we just say, okay, here it is. Take care of yourself. Take your vitamins, supplements, like you would any other flu season or cold season. Let's move on. When can we stop with the charade of this crazy whatever? It's, again, how many times can you say it? I think we only reiterate this all the time because there'll be somebody who just happens to tune in halfway through or something and be like, they don't think it's serious. It's not that it doesn't do anything. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's not that it can severely hurt somebody. It's the fact that the numbers are so minuscule. The average death age from strictly COVID is the exact same age as the average death rate of a human being, 78. When can we get over this? Like, when can we just stop? Most of the people are just done with, like, the mandate. They're done with wearing masks. They're just over it. It's tiring. It's exhausting. It's whatever other thing I can come up with that's tiring, and sleep. Like, we're over it.
Yeah.
Can we just move on and have Marvel movies come out and not have to be, well, it's going to stream too, and that's going to affect the box office, so then Scarlett Johansson leaves. Like, we're losing Avengers. Can we stop?
I mean, I guess she really did give it up for the Soul Stone.
And they never saw her again. And then there was a beautiful rainbow. I thought of this today. Actually, what's interesting is this popped into my head and kind of made me chuckle. And then I saw something after the fact that tied right in with it. Is it me, or do the extreme left pro-vaxxers, we'll call them, almost seem cultish, or at the very least like a religion now? Like, if a born again or a Mormon or who are the ones that
Scientologist?
Nope. Well, yeah, maybe. Any religion that
Shout
just
out to my man L. Ron Hubbard.
walks door to door and be like, "Have you talked about Jesus today?"
Oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witness.
The J-Hos.
So, but instead of that, you hear, "Have you thought about getting vaccinated at all?" That just popped into my head today. I'm like, well, that's bizarre, because everything I watch, like anyone, they either like angrily preach and rant on whatever platform they're on,
Yeah.
or just that. It's like, have you gotten vaccinated? Well, how come? Let's sit down and talk about things that, like, the benefits of getting vaccinated and hearing the word of the vaccination. And have you come? Sunday, we're having a get-together of all us vaccinated. Why don't you come? Maybe you'll fit in with us. Like, and this isn't even, I say that because this isn't even an over-exaggeration. after I thought of that, I saw online the same Kathy Hochul here.
Yep.
Apparently she's, I don't know if it's Catholic or Christian. I think she's Christian. What I saw sounds Christian. She was in front of her assembly, whenever it was, and as she was talking about how I prayed during this whole now this is coming from someone who's spiritual. You are not, right?
I'm not. It's not that I'm not spiritual. Once again, it's that it's just I have, much like our government, much like a lot of things. It's hard to believe in a foundation where there's so many different sides to it.
And I get that completely. I was raised on the Christian religion.
I was Catholic.
So I am.
I was actually Roman Catholic for a
I'm
long
sorry.
time.
I can understand why.
Yes, my son.
Yeah.
No, Daddy, no.
So this is coming from someone who's spiritual. So I see this but I also, again, am objective. And like you said, there's like, for years, I was like, man, who's right, who's wrong?
Yeah.
So I couldn't just like follow a religion. It just wasn't going to happen. She was up there talking. She goes, I've prayed during this whole pandemic for an answer of how to get out of this safely and this and that or whatever. The vaccine is the answer to my prayer. This is when my brain instantly clicked and be like, here we go. Now we're going to try to pull the religious side onto. The Democrats seem to be doing the same thing they did for the election now for the vaccine. Pulling each individual minority group, yeah, and trying to gain. And the thing I heard was cheers and claps. Rewind the clock a couple weeks, and it was not that at all. Now, this isn't saying that like this might have been just her church or whatever she was at. There was cheers and claps. The vaccine is the answer. God has given us the vaccine, and I need all you to be my whatever, my
sheep?
No, basically bishops and whatever, I can't remember the word she used, to go out and you know who these people are. Boy, if that's not pointing out, it's like, there they are. Again, what we were talking about, Nazi Germany. There they are. They're right there. You need to go. Yeah, you need to go out and you know who they are. Get them to get vaccinated. Point out how they're wrong in their ways, and like just get them to come to our side. If that is not cult talk right there, I don't know what is.
I mean.
Am I wrong though? Am I like looking at this wrong?
That is very religiously biased, or not biased, very religiously directed.
Yes, that's recruiting.
Yeah, in a sense. Now it's really quick. I just want to go on a little explanation real fast. It's like I said, I'm not super religious. I mean, I do have the values and core beliefs I was raised on. I'm not saying I don't believe in everything. I'm not saying I do believe in everything. But when it comes to that stuff, especially...
You understand the background.
I understand the background. I understand where it is now. And what I much like current events, it's something to kind of keep up on. It's not because I enjoy it. I mean, I just like knowing stuff. And...
Yeah, because there's nothing worse about someone like bringing some topic to you and you have no fucking idea what they're talking about. And you're like, well, I don't agree with that. Why?
Exactly. I don't want to be that guy. Like,
yeah, and it still happens.
If I hold my breath long enough, you'll agree with me. Okay, so where I was going to go with this is, having actually read the book, the Bible, I have physically read it cover to cover.
That's more than me.
I can't quote Proverbs. I can't quote Psalms.
I do know that. Side note. Any motivational speech or any motivational book you don't need, because everything is in Proverbs. That I know.
So I can't quote that kind of shit. But what I can do is I can tell you that if you read through the Old Testament and the New Testament, the reason there's a New Testament is because they realized the flaws with the Old Testament. Real quick example.
Sacrificing babies
in the Old Testament.
Probably.
In the Old Testament, there you can check it. It is better to spill thy seed into the belly of a whore than onto the ground. It was more sinful to masturbate than it was to cheat, to commit infidelity with another woman.
Maybe that's
or man.
Maybe that's
whatever your choice may be.
Everything is the way it is because we're doing the New Testament things. Like we got to go back to the Old Testament.
The New Testament, just don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it. Don't cheat.
That's why they're just like, you know what?
Don't masturbate. Don't cheat.
Don't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Just
but
stop.
In the Bible, there's a lot, and that's the best part. This is where, and it's not like I welcome the argument. I don't try to sit there. I'm not like Ben Shapiro, although I love the guy. I love his shows. I hate him sometimes, but I love him. I hate what he's saying, but sometimes I love what he's saying. It's one of those things. I'm not sitting there trying to point out the faults and the wrongs in people's arguments, but it's funny to sit there and for her to say something like that, because I haven't seen that. I'm going to look into that. For her to sit there and say, convince them that this is the way. Jesus himself in the Bible, if you read it, goes on to say, you are not going to win over every heart and soul. Mm-hmm. This is me paraphrasing and putting it in my own best translation.
As an upstate New York trucker.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Right, so this is
you ain't gonna be able to convince no lot lizard to suck no dick for $2, motherfucker. But you can get someone to suck dick. No, what I'm saying is,
yeah, he's absolutely right.
The Bible says you're not gonna win over every soul. You're not gonna turn every demon into every innocent into an angel. You're not. And all you can do is pray for them. That's what the message is. Mm. Pray for those who can't be found, who haven't found God, who haven't found religion. Pray for them. Don't force shit down their throat. Like that dead hooker.
Enter Biden.
Wait a minute. That was a good one.
Hold my hairy leg beer.
Don't force things down their throat. Like that dead hooker.
But
introduce Joe Biden. What did he do? No, what I'm saying is
Hunter Biden.
It's not their mission to convert every non-believer, So let's flip this. It's funny because this is so good of a way it's so funny how you could put the vaccine into the Bible. The job isn't to flip every non-vaccinated. It is to support every non-vaccinated. Because as a vaccinated person, you should be supportive of those who are non-vaccinated. Because that is what the vaccine is meant for. It is meant to help people. It is meant to put you in a position where you can provide, where you can help people, not force them. Because not every person... Fuck this, I'm going back to religion. Every non-believer, as a person of God, you are supposed to support those. You are supposed to help out your other fellow believers. They're supposed to help you support non-believers so that one day they may see that God is acting through you, and that generosity is something to be faithful in, have faith in.
Basically, your church doors are open. All you have to do is walk in if you want.
Yep.
Your hospitals with your vaccinations are there. All you have to do is walk in if you want it.
Yep. And every lost soul, you want to get religious on that shit, every non-vaccinated death is, according to our fucking glorious mayor, one of God's children that didn't find the light. They have no problem.
Governor,
whatever she is. They have no fucking problem. We're letting every other lost soul perish for any other reason. Drugs, alcohol, violence, age, sickness, hunger.
Right. You see that in a Joe Rogan? They were talking about he's talked about it many times. The organizations that are supposed to help with homelessness and hunger.
Oh yeah.
The people at the top, they're banking like 6-figure incomes.
Oh yeah.
It's like a whole system that's in place to keep the homeless. Yeah, we're taking in $1 billion, random number, and out of that billion, we're using 50 million.
A tenth of it, probably.
Not even.
Like UNICEF.
To have what are they? Food banks and things, and all that other money goes to advertising and payroll. Come on.
Well, that's like
and that is another thing that isn't a conspiracy anything. That's
facts.
out there. Yes, that's
you can fact check
there.
it. A lot of these helpful organizations like UNICEF, March of Dimes, what else is there?
St. Jude's, like all that.
There's a lot of.
I don't know which one of these are like good and bad. These are just random things I'm throwing out.
You can actually look up any charitable, because it has to be public record.
Mm-hmm.
You can look up any charitable organization and look
to see where your money goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like March of Dimes. That one, if I remember correctly, that's one I have.
The March of Dimes is a shithead one.
You actually tend if you actually break it down to a dime, only like 2 cents goes to the actual cost.
Right.
The other 8 cents, like that, the CEO, if I remember correctly, breaks like $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
A CEO for
these tent cities in LA and everything. There's all these
like Salvation. I think Salvation Army is like one of the good ones. I may be wrong. Like I said, fact check me.
I don't know.
But I think like Salvation Army is one that is one of the good ones. Like the CEO makes like $60,000 a year. $60,000 a year to be the head of one of the most charitable organizations in the world.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
It's special.
It is.
What
Spaceship
with space shuttle.
Space shuttle.
What really boggles my, I almost lost my thought, but what really is, it's frustrating. It doesn't even boggle my mind anymore. It's just frustrating. Is we have all these different dirty tactics and what at one time was conspiracy theories from Gulf of Tonkin incident that got us into Nam, which is a complete false flag operation. Never happened. It was a lie that got us into a war that we didn't have any business in.
No.
To the Bush administration and all their dealings with Halliburton and oil and all that, which is all real. That all happened.
Public record, sad but true.
Dick Cheney taking how many millions of dollars as a retirement or whatever when he left from Halliburton money, who he's dealing with. The Bush administration was dealing with. What the hell was it? I'm trying to remember the fucking direction of all this. I don't know. Before I just get too far into it and get lost in my own conversation. There's all these different things. Even fucking UFOs. That is not a conspiracy theory anymore. The government came right out and said they didn't say anything about aliens or interdimensional anything, but they said yes, there are unidentified flying objects, which I can't remember what they call them now, but they wanted to get away from the UFO stigma over the last 60 years or whatever it was. But there are UFOs. They don't know what they are, but there are things that they have no fucking idea.
I have heard the term, but I can't.
I can't remember it. But it doesn't matter. The fact is, like, UFOs are no longer a cryptid thing, a conspiracy. It's a real thing. All this stuff is out there in public record. It's all true. Crazy shit. But yet, the fact that the vaccine doesn't fucking work, that's out there. That's crazy talk. Wait a minute. The fact that COVID is not this deathly bubonic plague, Spanish flu, holy shit thing, that's crazy talk. Now you're a conspiracy theorist. Now you have an aluminum foil hat on. That's not crazy.
I prefer an aluminum foil condom.
Either way. That's crazy talk. All this other shit, no, that's public record. Fuck. I have one of the books in there, 60. It's a Jesse Ventura's book, 63 documents the government doesn't want you to see.
Yep.
All these documents. I mean, the title of it is a selling point because all these records are out in public now. They're all declassified, but they're all documents of lies, of behind like dirty politics, of dirty business deals in politics, of lies that got us into wars. Mm-hmm. They're all in public record. What he did with the book is he just took the documents, put them in a book, and put the short monologue in it, something to start the book, his opinion, and he said, I basically put this together so you can read it, easy to find, and you come up with your own conclusion. Things, the Zapruder film, all these things.
He red pill, blue pilled you.
Yeah. They're all in public record. They're all fucking crazy lies, but they're all true. Everything that's been like told to us over the years, but it's come out and been, whatever. But yet the COVID deal is not real. And still people will say, well, with the whole military thing in Australia, nobody's really talking about it. I think that's more or less the fact that nobody's talking about it because I think people don't want, maybe at least in America, don't want to admit to it. Well, that couldn't happen here. But yet here it is all over the news, or at least if you search for it in different facets. Mostly like you go to BBC or different independent news factions and whatever. That's where you'll see it. There it is. It's happening. Yep. No one's speaking about it.
I'm going to have to remember this because this whole time I'm like trying to nonchalantly look around the microphone edge because right here in my nose. No, dude, it's
baffling to me.
In 30 years, here's the best part. I'm glad the life expectancy has gone up astronomically over the last 100 years. The fact that we can push 100 and not beat an eyelash.
Yeah, 1900, what? It was like 48 or 52 maybe. Maybe it was less than that.
Mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
The fact that, it's good. This is cool that the life expectancy has gone up marginally. I can't wait. In 30, 40 years, we get to sit down and read about today.
Mm-hmm.
The declassification of all the stuff.
That's
the conspiracy theorists. Oh, the conspiracy theories back then were so they all came to be true. They all turned to be false, and it's like, the fuck did we really got? We were literally like head spinning shit.
You know what though? What's really fortunate as compared to like back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even into the 90s, the difference now is the internet. It's so easy for you to get information directly from the source of wherever it's coming from. Back then, all you had was Fox and CNN or
Word
ABC.
Of mouth.
Word of mouth, which the game of telephone, I mean, you get one story, as soon as you turn around to the next, it's already different.
We all remember telephone from kindergarten. The teacher whispers to the first student, I like apples. By the time it gets back to the teacher, it's, I want to smell your panties. Or at least that's what happened to me. I was the first and last student.
He was the only student.
I was. I was also 20 something. My math skills weren't that good either.
I was 2011.
I was 47 years old.
But yeah, I don't know.
And it wasn't a teacher. It was a clown. Yucko the clown.
It wasn't in school.
It was on a park bench. Shit. What time is it?
I don't know, man.
Oh shit, 10:46, man. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really hoping with what's going on in Australia. Yes, you're right. We do have a lot of not a lot. We do have some very significant differences between us. There are some very significant differences between us and Australia.
There's a few things that
make a difference.
Helps us, yeah.
But
like I said in the beginning, right from the get-go, that is a clear example of, yeah, it can happen because it is right now.
Yes.
And that Australia is not even the only one. It just so happens to be, I think, the biggest and probably worse. But this stuff's going, literally, France, it's going on all over the world.
It is.
The world. This is probably... The world. This is probably... This is probably the only thing... No, I can't even say that. At least in my lifetime, that I can safely say. That is truly worldwide. There was K-pop, but we don't talk about K-pop. But this is truly the one thing that is worldwide. and is affecting everybody pretty much the same way. What's interesting is it's affecting everybody in other nations that don't have a democracy like the United States does, but it's affecting them in the same way that it's affecting us, because, like I said, it's not a political affiliation. This is just what's right and wrong. Like, Canada doesn't have the same rights as we do. Like I've stated before, they don't have a right to free speech. If you say the wrong thing, they can get your ass in trouble.
Oh yeah.
But again, if Canada's government comes down and says we're locking you down for not being vaccinated, that has nothing to do with democracy. That has nothing to do with what political affiliation you are in Canada. That's just simply right and wrong. You don't have the right to do that. How come we can choose all these? How come I can go and when my daughter, when she was younger, has to be vaccinated, and they give me a choice? Do you want them to be vaccinated from this, and a choice from other ailments that are way fucking worse than COVID? They give you choice, but for some fucking reason, I don't have a choice. Well, right now we're okay because New York State's governor put a stifle on that for now.
Oh, yeah.
But in general, we're not. At least they're trying to mandate where we don't have a choice for this. Why? What's the push here? Is this a political grab here? Is this a power? Is this like a flex?
Exactly. Because, like I was saying before, it's funny. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something we talked about earlier. The flex of the military presence. You know, the whole martial law thing. You know, taking your guns. Knowing what has to happen for that to happen. You know, I'm not saying they won't ever try to enact martial law, but with a military presence and the general masses being untrained like the military is, so when you walk into a room with nothing but A-class trained military and you're told to ship up or shape out, what happens? I'm done. You concede to the more experience. You have no choice. It's either get your ass handled or go along. Or get out. Take your pick. And that's, I think that's another thing by her bringing in the National Guard. Like, I genuinely think that's her trying to flex the military. Like, well, we have them here, so if things get bad enough, we can do what we need to. And because the general John Q. public isn't trained like they are, they'll lose. That's the kind of like the hope. It's like they're playing cards and they're doing a slight bluff. Like, they have a pair, but they don't know if we have a better pair. Because a pair, you can win a hand off a bluff. And that's what it is. Like, that's the way I'm thinking it. So, golden peanuts soar over chocolate-covered mountaintops and waterfalls of caramel. Dancing nougat in a meadow sings a song of satisfaction to the world. The world. Love that commercial. No, but I mean, that was just in my head and I couldn't get it out. I just kept singing it over and over. I'm trying to make a point and it's like, Snickers, Snickers, Snickers in my head. I'm like, no,
like
no, serious, political.
It's like Gremlin poking its head out of a closet. They
should have never gave you guys a podcast.
This really is like a soft intellectual war right now. Like, it's not boots on the ground. It's not battle. It's not bullets being fought. It's really like. It really seems...
Who can sell the argument better?
It really seems like it's just planting seeds and letting, like, everyone... using social media as basically your battleground. Like, that basically is the battleground.
Yeah.
That's Gettysburg. And here we are, North versus South, blue and red, anti-vax and vaccinated. And what's sad is a lot of people don't see it. At least if they do see it, no one really speaks up.
Because they've planted, like you said, they've planted that seed where you can be labeled off of having an opinion.
Right.
And if it's not the right opinion, you're going to have no support.
Right.
because no matter where you go, it's not going to be someone's anti-vax versus pro-vax. If you put a pro-vax in an anti-vax room, they're going to get chewed up and spit out. You put an anti-vax in a pro-vax room, they're going to get chewed up and spit out. It goes both ways. I think I might have said that twice. Anti-vax into a pro-vax.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Pro-vax into an anti-vax room, not going to work out. Anti-vax into a pro-vax room, not going to work out.
And, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not coming down on the vaccinated. Because this, like you just said, this argument goes both ways. Because everybody who's anti-vax, or just even not vaccinated, not even anti-vax, if you get someone who pushes the vaccine, and they'll just mob mentality come down on them just as hard as someone who is just strict anti-vax.
Like when this first started really happening, I actually got asked by a close family member, like, are you vaccinated? I'm like, no. Do you intend to get vaccinated? No. Well, then you're doing things wrong. I'm like, did you want to ask why? Well, I mean, you've obviously got your reasons. Do you want to ask why? Okay, why aren't you vaccinated yet? Because I don't know nothing about it. Well, maybe you should learn about it. I'm like,
there's nothing to learn.
Are you vaccinated? And the person said yes. I'm like, okay, well, what can you tell me about it? Just that the vaccine will work. Literally.
And that,
like, there's doctors approving it. It's going through the FDA right now because with the emergency approval, obviously there is enough credibility behind it that it must be working. And I actually had to sit there and say, listen,
you tell them it's like, uranium used to be sold in children's play sets. Like,
I go,
science sets too.
I go,
that doesn't mean it was right.
You do realize that you're going off a lot of speculation. Well, the research is being done. I'm like, okay, so then when the research is done and it can be given to me in a clear-cut manner that makes sense to me, then either I'll A, go for it, or B, I won't.
The research isn't going to be out until 2024. The CDC has to do, I think it's a 5-year span where they have to do research before they release it to the public, and it has to pass all their tests before they can release anything to the public. Like, this is only an emergency, whatever
approval at first, and then apparently
this research is not. It's 2023 or 2024. It's not going to be out until then.
Yeah. And
I don't even think you need the research at this point now, because, like I said, there's vaccinated people that are catching it.
The same person,
people that are shedding it, and
the same person asked me if I intended on any of my close ones being vaccinated. I'm like, I prefer them not to. Well, then you're just putting them at risk, and I'm like, what risk? Well, the risk of dying from COVID. I'm like, okay, so if I can go back and get my children unvaccinated from all the vaccines they needed from school, well, why would you do that? Because none of those are a problem anymore. Well, they still could be. That's why you need to get them vaccinated. I'm like, okay, but if I choose not to, they don't have to be, correct? Yeah. Okay, so why is this any different? And that goes back to the point you were saying earlier. It's either you choose to take it or you choose not to. Let it be.
It's a fun time we live in.
It's a fucking... It's definitely... And I understand now why they call it the woke era, generation, whatever you want to call it. Because it's... I'm not saying that in the term of, oh, I'm woke because I believe in this and it's against... Or I support Antifa, or I support Black Lives Matter.
I understand what's going on, and I'm woke to everything that's wrong. That's where the whole term comes from. In a very vague nutshell.
It's funny because I understand where that term actually has a very good multi-avenue definition. In my opinion, I've really woken up to being aware of what's going on, not what's right and what's wrong.
I was just gonna say, because you could technically consider us woke.
Because we are getting to the point where now it's like our eyes are opening up to a lot of what's going on, and we have to sit here and sift through the bullshit and decide based off what we can find, not what we will find, because not everything will ever be fully. We will never be fully informed. They can sit there and tell you, "Oh, we're giving you all the information we can," and then behind their fucking back, they've got a "fuck you" right there.
Fauci with his emails saying masks don't work, but yet he's preaching masks work.
Yeah,
double up, triple up, quadruple up your masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right there. Like said himself. No, they don't work.
We're never gonna have
no shit.
We're never gonna have all the information. We're only gonna be told about much like an iceberg. We're only gonna see, except flip that shit. You're only gonna see about 90% of the information. 10% of it's gonna be hidden forever. You're never gonna get all the facts because that doesn't. If you know all the facts, you can make an educated decision.
I think, but again, like the benefit we have is the internet.
Yeah.
So where they might give us, I'd even go, we'll get 10% of the information and 90% hidden. We have the internet. So in all these cases of what's actually going on gets thrown out there, it's like, oh, well, they're not saying anything about this. The news didn't say anything about that. Well, how come this is going on? All these like people getting pepper sprayed over in Australia because of all this, and then the Fauci emails and stuff that came out, and the fact, here's one, this doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about except for lies. I don't know if it was Hillary herself or her administration from 2016, she was indicted, or they were indicted for a felony charge of lying under oath. The Russiagate scandal was false. It was a lie. What? Even though he was impeached twice over it and fucking cleared both times.
Yep.
But COVID's dangerous. NWO for life. Because it's a fucking time where it's weird. It's a weird time, but great for content.
It is. It is.